Perfect. All right, boys and girls. So it's 11:59 a.m. my time, coming up on noon o'clock, and got a special guest for each and every one of you today. I want to introduce you to a gentleman that I'm sure you've heard me say his name a time or two. You've probably seen his name on some of my charts. This is him in the chat pane, Scott Mackay. Lives in Austin, Texas. Scott, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great.
So tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Where are you from? How long you lived there, and how'd you get involved in trading?
Been in Austin for about 25 years. Moved there the first time in 1995.
From where?
From California. Was I living in California? Yeah.
Okay.
I lived in the San Francisco area, Silicon Valley.
Oh, nice.
I was an engineer for 32 years. And moved to Austin in 95 the first time, moved away for a while, moved back, bought a house in 2000, and I've been there ever since. Got a 19-year-old son, and let's see, trading, I guess started with, I joined a company called Synopsys when they were pre-IPO, and had some options.
Is that SYY?
SNPS.
Oh, so they're still publicly traded. Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
SNPS.
Yeah.
Do you ever trade them these days, or
not
no?
these days? Not since they laid me off.
I'm not giving them any money. Okay.
I take some money from them.
Sure.
But yeah, that kind of got me started, and then employee stock purchase program and all that got me interested. And then
so before then, you had never dabbled or messed with it at all?
Not really. No.
Okay.
I mean, before then was the time I was talking about yesterday when you were 18% on CDs.
Wow.
Like that. So, so yeah, that kind of got me interested. Although for a while I didn't do anything with the SPP shares. I just saved them. I wish I did that. Wish I still had them. But, but I used a lot of those I just used that to increase my income, basically.
Sure.
So then 2000 came and lost about 50% of my 401k.
Okay.
In the crash.
Jeez.
And I kind of got interested in trading after that, or investing, I should say.
Okay.
And then because I didn't want that ever to happen again.
Right.
And then when 2008 came around, I guess actually before that, around 2006, 2007, I wanted to increase my income some more. So I started started reading some stuff from Motley Fool and Investors Business Daily and stuff like that.
Yep.
Buy high, buy real high. Maybe it'll go higher and sell higher.
Yep. That's usually what happens. When you get to one of those alerts, it's already pretty high.
Yep. So I started getting interested in that. So did some trading around 2006, 2007, and was glad because when 2008 hit, I actually was able to get out of my, get my 401k out of the market basically, and save a lot of that. So, and then, so, I did that for a few years. And didn't do it for a few years then, but around 2017, I started to get back into it, started to be interested in it. And in May of 2017, I got laid off after 17 years at the same job.
Wow.
And was going out interviewing,
Did you know it was coming?
No, I had no idea. I just had my review like a month before. It was a great review. And, but our group was really small.
Yeah.
And so just I was the one to go. I was working remotely. There were like 3 of us, I think, in the group and the manager. And the other 2 guys I was doing software, and I'm not a software engineer. I was a hardware engineer. And the other 2 guys they could do the stuff I could do, but I couldn't do what they could do. So it was pretty much, it was pretty obvious who they were going to go if they couldn't have anybody. So
Right. So
anyway, went and interviewed with a bunch of companies, and interviewed with Intel. They flew me out to San Jose. Interviewed with them. The interview went real well, and as I walked out, I'm going, man, I really hope they don't offer me a job.
Really?
I mean, it was like 51-49, 51% of me was just like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
And I had been doing some trading, and I just decided, you know what, the heck with this. I'm gonna do something different. My 401k was a pretty good place. In my house, I got a little equity in that, and so I was just like, you know what, let's see if I can do something else.
Yeah.
And so I started doing a lot of research, and came across this company called Real Life Trading, and the videos just made a lot of sense, and so started, following all your stuff, watched all your videos.
Yeah.
And I think it was about, so that was like August, September, and then December, I just decided, you know what, I'm just going to join the trading room, learn how to trade, and do all that. So.
And how's it going for you? How's trading been?
It was a struggle for up until the last 4, 5, 6 months.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't lose huge, but I was definitely losing money.
Right.
This year has been a lot better. I'm actually positive this year. I wouldn't say I'm hugely profitable. The last 3 months have been good.
Yep.
I mean, I don't say this to brag. I just say this because it's really awesome. July, I made more money that month than I ever made in my entire life.
Which is huge.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
I mean, I did pretty well as an engineer. That's one. I never really loved it.
Yeah.
They paid me pretty well, so I kept doing it. And
I remember you telling me that once.
Yeah.
Do you think a lot of people are in that same situation? Like they get paid?
Oh yeah. Oh,
not amazing, but
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's easy if you got a job you don't hate, but don't love, and they pay you well. It's like, I mean, it just makes it real easy to go, I don't know what else I do, so I'll just keep taking the paycheck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, now I look at it, I'm pretty positive. I think that I think I'm going to be profitable. Not wildly profitable. I think I still got some struggles to go, but I think I can do this.
Well, you got time too. I mean, you've been doing this how long then?
About a year and a half. And I really only started day trading in January. I mean, I was doing swing trading and stuff, and I really only started day trading in January. And had a real good month in January day trading. That was actually that was an easy month. I mean, the market.
It was easy, yeah. Yeah.
And then struggled, but then, came here in late February.
Right.
To trade with you.
Right. So that's an interesting thing, man, because I'd love to know your mindset on why you did that, because you don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
You have money that is saved up, but that's it. That's all the money that you have. So limited income, and you make a trip out to Nashville to work with me for a week. What was your thought process on, like, why would you do that? Because that's scary, man, to spend a lot of that time and a lot of money to do something that you're not making money at.
Yeah. I'm committed to making this work. I mean, I can see that other people do it.
Yeah.
And my thought process really was that, I needed help.
Yeah.
There's nothing you do in this world that you don't have to have some help from somebody. You don't have to learn from somebody. And it just, I felt like I wasn't making the progress I wanted to make.
Right.
And, you want to do something, find somebody who's done it before. Find somebody who knows how to do it and learn from them.
Which seems so obvious, but it is. That's how I learned too.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. Like if you do something, so let's say you're a public speaker, you want to become a better public speaker, then go find someone who does public speaking for a living and gets paid a lot of money to do it, and just ask them a bunch of questions.
Yeah.
All you have is time or money.
Yeah.
That's all you can spend. So you have to spend one of those two things. If you have a lot of time on your side, which you do, you have tons of time, but if you have a lot of time on your side, then learn to do it yourself. But if you don't, and you got some money, then spend something and do it. Make it happen.
Yeah.
And you've been on this really cool journey. So tell us a little bit about your journey over the last just like 7-8 months. Like how's just the amount that you've changed, man, has been so incredible. I feel like.
How deep you want me to go into that?
Deep as you want.
Well, I mean, should I tell the backstory?
Sure.
Okay, so
sure.
In 2006, actually early 2007, I married, have kid going into first grade, have a stepson who's going into his second year at the University of Arizona, and my wife had cancer. So 2007 was rough.
Yeah.
That was chemo and radiation and mastectomy and all that stuff.
So hard.
So that was rough. And I mean, the reason I'm telling this is because then it was 10 years of just brutal, just a rough life. I mean, a lot of responsibility fell on my shoulders.
Yeah.
One of the things that we agreed was that my job was to make Boomer, who's our son, make his life as normal as possible. That didn't work, but that's what I tried to do, and took care of her at the same time. And so anyway, this went on for about 10 years, and around I promise I'll get to a point here in a minute, but around 2015, Boomer turns 15, and he got into drugs and got into, just had a rough time with it. His mom died in 2016. And he struggled. And the whole point of all this is that all of that stress and all of that time put me in a really bad place.
Right.
I was down low, depressed. I mean, I can remember thinking around 2013, this was before my wife died, that, man, she's going to live probably 5 more years, and then I'm going to be 58, which is what I am now. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be 58. I'm going to be bald. I'm going to, nobody's ever going to want me. And I just got really depressed and was depressed for 5-6 years. And then, I don't know, around the end of last year, I kind of started to turn it around. And just be a little more positive.
Do you remember the moment why? Like what made it happen?
No, I don't, honestly. I don't remember what turned it around. I mean, I can remember, I'll get to that in a minute, what really turned things around. But that was really slow. I was still pretty sad, pretty depressed, pretty negative about everything. And, that's about the time I decided I need to do something. Reached out. Actually, I've been talking for quite a while.
Yeah.
Boomer started the conversation. He's like, "Oh yeah, have my dad come to Nashville and trade with you." And, thanks, man.
Yeah. He did kind of throw him under the bus a little bit.
He did, which is good.
Yeah.
So anyway, when I came here, I was still pretty low, but starting to come up.
Yeah.
And we had just an incredible week.
Yeah, we did.
And being around you and Ashley and Derek was still here at the time.
Yep.
Just being around you guys are so positive. And I don't come naturally from a place of being positive. I grew up in a pretty negative family and have been kind of a negative a-hole most of my life. But you guys were so positive, and then I guess I'll tell the whole story. I flew home.
Yeah.
Couldn't wait to see Boomer. Oh, man, I can't wait to see Boomer. It's such a great time.
Yeah.
And I got home, and he wasn't there, and he walks in about noon on the Friday that I got home and says, "We need to talk." Oh, man.
Yep.
So anyway, he had relapsed and wanted to check himself into rehab. And that's when things really turned around for me.
Yeah.
Is that, he, for the first time, he really took the responsibility on his shoulders and said, "Okay, I'm going to rehab." Most of the time when he would do things, it was like, "Oh, I need to do this. Here, do it for me."
Yeah.
But he found the place. He called the insurance company. He did all that stuff. And, he went off and was gone for 3 weeks. And I was alone for the first time in a long time. And I had a lot of time to think. And, the positive experience I'd had here, plus then I started going to Al-Anon, which probably most people know, but some people don't. It's basically, it's like Alcoholics Anonymous, but it's for the family members of alcoholics and drug addicts. And so you go and you get support from them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And that's really awesome. Just being around people who know what you're doing. And what really changed my life is, I'd heard people talk about gratitude and doing this and that. I always thought, whatever.
Bull crap. Yeah. Dumb.
What really changed my life is I remember being really, really low one day and just waking up in the morning and lying in bed and going, "Okay, I'll give this a shot." Like, I'm grateful that I'm still alive. I'm grateful that I can take a nice deep breath. It's like, well, I'm grateful that I'm in pretty good shape. I'm in good health.
Yep.
And I just started building on that, and it really turned my life around. I would get up and I would, just walk around the house in the morning for 5 or 10 minutes and be, I'm grateful to have a nice house to live in. I'm grateful for, when we moved out for a while, we moved back to the house and Boomer painted the walls this cool blue color. Mm-hmm. I'd be like, oh, I'm grateful for that. But anyway, just being grateful and starting to focus on what I have instead of what I don't have.
Oh, it's big.
Yeah. And then focusing on what I want as opposed to what I don't want.
Oh.
Yeah. And I mean, that was a big problem trading. That I would focus on, I'm going to get stopped out, I'm going to lose it. I would focus on that, and sure enough, it would happen. Or I'm going to take this trade and I'm going to lose. Or I'm going to take this trade and I'm going to screw it up. And so, yeah, sure. That's what happens.
Right. Yeah.
But it's really funny because then, I mean, the other thing that turned it around was that my morning routine used to be I'd get up, I'd make breakfast, and I'd sit and watch stupid YouTube videos.
Okay.
And one day, for some reason, I don't remember what it was, I just, people had posted quite a few Tony Robbins quotes in Slack. And I'm like, man, those aren't bad. And I just remember Tony Robbins from his 90s infomercials, and I never watched him, and I just thought he was some real estate huckster or something.
Yeah.
And I started watching some stuff on YouTube. I'm like, no, this guy's really got something to say. So what I did is I changed my morning routine to I get up, meditate for 10 minutes, make breakfast, and then I sit down. And while I eat my breakfast, I pump myself up by watching Tony Robbins videos or some other thing like that. And ever since I started doing that, I've been profitable something like 18 out of 20 weeks. That was 20 weeks ago.
18 out of 20 weeks.
18 out of 20 weeks.
My man.
I was really shocked at how, as I became happier, I started making money. It wasn't that I'm making money, now I'm happy.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm going to be happy, whatever. I got time. Like you said, I got time. The amazing RLT community. I learn something from somebody every day.
Yeah, me too.
Talking to you and just finding out that, okay, it's not I'm a total idiot, I can't trade. It's that, I need to be a little more disciplined, or a lot more disciplined, and just and do all that. But so anyway, that stuff turned around. Like I said, it was just shocking to me that as I become happier and happier, I seem to make more money.
Yeah. Wow. That's amazing. I appreciate you sharing those very tactical things, because a lot of people will say, oh, my life turned around and I became happier, but they never say how. All right, there has to be something that you tangibly do with your life to make those switches and make those changes. And man, and again, from one friend to another, I've seen that in you. So I just want to let you know, for me, that it's very visual. You've done like 180s, man. And I'm happy about that. It makes me very, very, very excited. 18 out of 20 weeks. And what are your strategies? What do you do?
What do I do? I mean, lately I've been, day trading. I love that high wave 3-minute candle. If I can find that, I'm taking that.
Okay.
Double bottoms. If I'm trading SPY, I'm looking for a trap someplace.
Sure.
Usually low of the day trap. I'm not that great trading bearish, and then those are the good trades I take. I take some pretty bonehead trades still. The ones where you look at them and go, "Why did you go bullish?"
Yeah. And so you mostly day trade options.
Yeah, mostly day trade options. I wish I didn't have to, but I'm trading out of my 401k, and purchasing power becomes a big problem, because I want to do longer term investments.
Yep.
I also, one of the things that I'm most profitable at is doing put sales and cover calls and things like that. I mean, I'm shocked at how quick the put sales add up.
Yeah.
I'll do 2 or 3 small put sales, and then I'll do 2 or 3 more and 2 or 3 more, and I'll only get like 0.1 R or something like that. But at the end of the month, I got 6, 7, or 8 of those.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, okay, that's actually adding up.
Sure. Sure. Which is awesome. So mostly covered calls, buying stock long term, doing put sales, and day trading options. It's and you're doing it through your 401k, or is it 401k or IRA?
Or actually, it's an IRA now.
Okay, that's right. Okay. I didn't know if there was a difference, but yeah, there's a difference because you roll it over.
Yeah.
If you're employed, it's a 401k.
Right.
But you're no longer employed.
I am no longer employed.
And you'll probably be unemployable for a while, I would think, right?
I'm never having a job again in my life.
There you
not
go.
For anybody else.
There you go.
No way. I'll do some of the things we've talked about.
Yeah.
For myself, but
absolutely. Absolutely. And another reason I wanted Scott to do this, I knew he was going to be here. I had planned this particular interview like 5 months ago. Another reason that I knew where Scott was going to be in his life, and I wanted him to tell other people who might be in the same predicament, just about the whole job situation, man. Like, if someone's unhappy with their job, they're 56, 55, 53, they got kids, they got wives, they have a house, and they're unhappy. What's your advice to them?
If you can do something else, do something else. And I mean, it's hard. It's hard if you got a wife and kids, and especially if you feel like you're the only money or only earner in the family. But life is too dang short to do stuff you don't like.
Yeah,
that's my advice. I mean, that's my advice to everybody.
Yeah,
is that there's just it's too short to do the things you don't like, and find something else to do. And I mean, I say come talk to Jeremy, and you always get great ideas.
I have great ideas.
And I mean, money grows on trees. That was fun watching you bring people up, and they were like, well, and you just have these great ideas for them. You just see the light bulb go on in their head. And
by the way, man, Barbara.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jesse's mom.
She's already done it.
Nice.
She's already done it.
Nice.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. She got a huge promotion. So I'm talking about one of the ladies who I brought up, the first person I brought up on stage at Money Grows on Trees. I was kind of having this discussion where, what can you do? How can you do it? Why can you do it? What's your thoughts on it? I'm just sharing that with you because you were there, and she was just had so many limiting beliefs, right? I mean, we all do.
Yeah.
I have limiting beliefs. Everyone has limiting beliefs. It just depends on what those limiting beliefs are. They can be different, right? My limiting beliefs are going to be totally different than a lot of people's, but we all have something somewhere that says we are not good enough, or we can't do something, or no one's going to like us, or no one's going to pay us, or no one's going to believe us. Have you ever had those before?
Gee, no. I mean, I suck. No, that one's huge.
Yeah.
I think everybody has that one. It's something, there's that voice inside that says, oh, I'm not good enough to do this, or I can't do that.
Yep.
And I mean, the worst thing about those limiting beliefs is that you don't recognize them. I mean, for me, I guess I won't speak for anybody else, but I think this is pretty common, that it's just such an ingrained part that you never look at it and go, oh, why do I think I suck? That's just stupid.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really personal, but actually I'll say this because I thought it was pretty awesome that there used to be this voice inside my head that like I would think of something I did in the past that like was stupid or embarrassed me. It's like, oh, I hate myself. And I remember a month or two ago, I was sitting at the kitchen table and I thought of something that I'd done, in the past, something stupid that was embarrassing. And I thought, wait a minute, I love myself. And it just was like, wait, what was that? Where did that voice come from? But it's just those beliefs are so ingrained that you don't look at them and you don't even really hear that voice that's telling you that, it's telling me that I suck or that I can't do this. And you just got to power through that one.
You're totally right.
Because it's not true.
You're totally right. And the thing I like that you're bringing up is to think through, when did those beliefs become a thing? Like asking the questions, who was the first person, I'm asking you this question specifically, but like who was the first person to tell you that you were not good enough? Or you're not, you will never become that, or you can't do that, or you shouldn't achieve that. right? For example, for me, a lot of it is my mom telling me that I shouldn't brag, right? I should be humble.
Mhm.
Pride comes before the crash. I don't need to achieve this amount because you don't want to be greedy, right? A lot of these things come from my mom. Some of these come from my dad. Some of these come from my grandparents. It's really interesting to know where they came from, because once you know the origin of something, you can either rewrite it or just realize the perspective and shift that whole perspective in your brain on how that became a thing. For example, when my dad told me when when he was giving me the Apple shares when I was 12, because I asked him, we were going down from Georgia to Florida. We were moving from Statesboro to Gainesville, Florida. And I asked him randomly, like on the car ride, I'm like, hey, Pops, how's my Apple shares doing? And he's like, oh, yes, let me check. And so like we pull over at a gas station or whatever. And like he literally calls Schwab on the phone and asks them and finds out and tells me kind of thing. And so they're up 400%. So I mean, I killed it. I mean, we put in $2,600 and they're worth more than, no, yeah, it was around 12 grand. I mean, it was a huge, huge trade. And this was right at the top of the tech bubble. And so he tells me, son, you're never going to have a trade like this ever again for the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. So that was like a limiting belief that I had for a long time without even knowing it.
Yeah.
Like when I first started trading, I would sell really early. I would get out of a trade way too early because I had this belief that I am never going to make a trade that good again. So I would sell way before I had a huge win. Without even realizing it, right? Without even knowing why I was getting out. And a lot of people often ask, why do I get out of a trade too early? Like, dude, it could be for 100 different reasons, right? You think it's you're not a good enough trader. It's like, that's not the answer. It's normally some fear-based subconscious belief that you have somewhere. Either it's going to go roll over and you're going to lose money. You don't want that to happen, or your brain doesn't want you to have money anyway because you're scared of it. So it's going to make you self-sabotage and get out too early. It's so many things. And that's an exact point of view that I'm really happy that you brought up, is that we all have these weird beliefs in our head about something. And there's so many that are related to the stock market.
Mm. Agreed.
What's the first memory you have of someone talking about the stock market?
I don't know. I mean, yeah, someone in my life, I don't know. I mean, probably my first memories of the stock market is my dad used to watch the news every night. They'd come on and say, oh, the Dow's at, I remember before the Dow was at 1,000. So
really,
oh, yeah. Oh, the Dow's never going to make it to 1,000.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. Who said that? Did someone say that, or do you just remember someone saying that?
Yeah, I remember seeing that on TV.
Wow.
Like, oh, never make it to 1,000.
Wow.
And I mean, it wasn't for a long time. It never made it up that high.
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't, I don't remember specific examples, but the thing that, the thing I can remember hearing is, oh, you never make money in the stock market. You can never make money. It's, only rich people or only experts, or nobody ever really makes money. It's only the brokers that make money.
Sure.
Things like that. So.
So very, very interesting statement. Again, for those who are listening, make sure to kind of think through and ponder through those thoughts that you might have about the markets, because at some point, you're going to have certain beliefs and thoughts that are really, really tied to, again, maybe even potentially the stock market, right? Just having some sort of, like I interviewed David Wygant not too long ago when, his grandma and his dad was a stockbroker in New York City and lost hundreds of thousands of dollars and said, you can never make money in the stock market.
Mm.
And so now he's here trying to make money in the stock market. He finds it really hard. I'm like, well, I wonder why.
Yeah, right.
Because you have the belief. And if you believe something enough, and then the days that you do lose, right, it becomes even worse. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. You tell yourself over and over, you beat yourself up about it all the time. And that's a really hard thing to shake out. So I would love for you to tell people who are listening, what are some of your rules that you can remember of your trading plan?
Some of my rules that I can remember my trading plan?
Yeah.
Well, no more than 2 hours a day, no more than 2 hour loss a day.
Okay.
Geez, you put me on the spot. They're ingrained and I know them, But well, can't. First trade is less than 0.7 R, then no more trades for the day.
Okay, if you win on it, or
if you win on it.
okay,
yeah,
okay,
yeah.
okay. That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a real good one. That the positive character rule.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of rules. Well, I mean, now I got things like if I place an order with my broker, then I have to leave it open for a half an hour. Because I did that several times where I put an order out.
Okay.
A limit order.
Okay.
I can remember specifically Square one time, putting an order out there, and just as it's coming down, I canceled it. I was like, oh, I don't like the way it's pulling back. Well, why didn't you put a limit order out
there? Why'd you want to buy it?
But then I remember, talking to you about it, and you were like, why did you cancel that?
Yeah.
And at that point, we put in and I did that several times. And so we did if I put an order, if I set it up, it's got to stay open for half an hour.
Wow. Okay. So just to reiterate, because this is going to be a big rule for a lot of you listening. If you put an order into the broker and submit it, you can't cancel it for 30 minutes.
I cannot.
No matter what.
I have modified it a little bit so that, like, if there's tweezer tops or something like that, if I'm getting in bullish on a pullback and there's tweezer tops, I may cancel it. Right.
If it's glaring.
But for the most part, I mean, for I don't know, a month or two, it was like, nope, no cancel.
Yeah.
And I've lost on trades like that, and it's like, okay, whatever. That's what the rule says, so I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
I mean, my punishment is I gotta shave my head and let my beard grow. Like I told you, I look like Santa Claus's older brother with a crappy beard. So
love it.
So I do not cancel that one.
Okay.
I didn't specifically break a rule when you maybe not maybe, but you suggested that I wax my legs. I didn't specifically break a rule, but I was scared to get in a Tesla trade that you set up.
Yeah.
And then I knew I should have gotten in.
Yeah.
It was like a 3-hour trade or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the thing I struggle most with, and I got to figure out how to put that into rules.
Okay. What's that? What do you struggle with?
Well, I struggle with panic selling sometimes.
Okay.
I mean, especially with options, because I remember who it was, but somebody was talking the other day in the afternoon room about wrote in the afternoon room that they traded and the stock actually ended above their entry. They lost money on the trade. I'm like, yeah, boy, I know how that goes.
Yeah.
And it's the worst. So sometimes I will panic sell. If the stock's coming back down and the options look like they're losing money, I'll panic sell because I don't want to go green to red.
Sure.
And sometimes, a lot of times I will mark it out, even though, 2 seconds before I told myself stock's going to come down here. If I didn't write it down, then I'm not, I usually don't end up listening to myself, but
yeah.
Okay, the stocks, it's going to have to retest the 20 EMA on the 5 minute.
Right.
I know it's going to do that. And yet when it gets down there, I panic mark it out. So,
yeah.
So I mean, for me right now, I think fear is the battle I gotta fight.
What's the fear of, you think?
Being wrong.
Yeah.
I hate being wrong.
Sure. Me too.
Always have.
Yeah, me too.
Always have.
Especially with an engineer background.
Yeah.
Because A plus B is supposed to equal C all the time.
Yeah.
So in trading, it's like, okay, here's everything that should work. Not right. You lose.
Yeah. Well, it's not. I mean, I hate losing money too. Obviously, I know everybody does. But,
sure.
But it's not even that. Sometimes I get that on a back trade. It's like I don't panic exit on a back trade, but sometimes I'll back trade and it's like, oh man, so stupid. How could I lose on that? How could I be wrong?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Right.
Because it just didn't work.
Right. Man, the need to be right. It's a big need. I don't know where, I do know where it comes from. I mean, it just comes from our backgrounds of human civilization. I mean, 400 years ago, if you were wrong, you died.
Yeah.
You ate the wrong berry or, drank the wrong thing of water that wasn't properly created or, cooked or boiled or whatever. I mean, that was the thing, is that's ingrained in our brains.
Yeah.
And it's ingrained in our society, right? As you're growing up in school, you can't be wrong.
No.
Because you get an F, or you fail your test, or you have a grade that's less than perfect, right? You don't get hundreds. You get a 90 or an 80 or whatever, or 70. Or in my case, if it's chemistry, you get 20, right? Like you are incorrect and therefore wrong, and then your parents judge you or say certain things because you didn't get certain grades, and then that is a process of just the educational components and the educational system saying, hey, you're not right. And if you're not right, there's a consequence. Your parents won't love you as much,
right,
because you're not getting as good grades.
Right.
And I don't know if there's necessarily a solution to that, because I do think there is a time to be wrong. There is a time to be right. I don't necessarily think that it has to be a graded system or a graded scale, but I believe that there is losing and there's winning, and then there's failing. Right?
Yeah.
Losing and failing are two totally different things.
Two totally different things. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So it's just something that, as our whole livelihood forever as humans, we have to battle that whole being wrong thing, the fear of being wrong. And it's hard. If anyone has any suggestions out there on what you have done to battle or overcome the fear of being wrong, feel free to let us know. One thing that I've done in my trading is, with trading and in life, I'll share two things. So in trading is I will do an analysis and I will set up 2 trades and leave it alone for X period of time. So I go in, I do the analysis, and I go, okay, if it goes up, if it goes down to this level, I'm gonna get bullish. If it goes down to this level, I'm gonna get bearish. That's it. So I have 2 trades, and whichever one triggers, I just have to stay with that one for X period of time, and I have no other choice. So every trade I set up. So I'll go, like on BABA today, here's an entry bearish, here's an entry bullish. Whichever way it does, I'm just going that direction. There's nothing I can do about it, because it's going to be wrong or it's going to be right. There's nothing I can do.
Yeah.
And get into the habit where I'm always taking a trade no matter what. With, here's my setup, here's a trade, I'm in. And you just get that habit of getting into a trade and understanding that it's not the market, it's not the trade, it's not you, it's all about the position size. It's all about risk, because you will be wrong, even in a relationship, right? In a relationship, you're going to be wrong, you're going to say the wrong things, right? If you're driving, you can be wrong, right? You can go too fast or too slow, or you can hit a curb, or if you're eating and you have an allergy, you can eat the wrong food, or you can overeat and then get diabetes because you ate too much sugar. Right? We can always be wrong in so many aspects of our life, but we don't stress about those things because we know how to control them. So that's the part of the trading control, is we just have to understand that it's a risk component. That's the biggest key factor of trading, is if you really, really, really are comfortable with your risk and you repeat it out loud to yourself frequently. I'm okay. I'm certain that if I lose on this trade, this is how much I will lose approximately, and I'm okay to do that, and you just take the trade. And sometimes it's just 1 trade a day, 1 trade a week, 1 trade a month, but just getting in that habit. So it's helped me. The other thing that's helped me in life is doing things that I know I'm not good at and being wrong publicly.
Yeah.
That's helped me a lot. So going to volleyball tournaments, okay, I'm not very athletic, man. You're laughing over here. Going to playing baseball. So I signed up to play baseball. I'm a terrible baseball player. I've told everyone this. And I had a guy who came up to me and he's like, hey, man, are you good at softball? Baseball? I was like, no, dude, I'm terrible. He's like, well, we have a league. It's $50. It's, for friends. You should join. I was like, all right, well, I saw that as an opportunity to go do something that I'm terrible at publicly, be wrong publicly. But in that moment that I'm wrong, bro, I struck out in slow pitch softball in front of hundreds of people. Okay? How do you strike out in slow pitch? I was the only one on the team the whole game.
It's like striking out in T-ball.
Dude, I know, but worse because I'm a grown man. Okay? And it's slow pitch softball. And so I strike out. Now, the cool part is I'm the only person who's done this, like the whole game, and everyone's laughing. But what I get to do in that moment is I get to smile and go, I was totally wrong, and accept it and just realize that that moment will be gone.
Yeah.
And no one cares.
That's awesome, actually.
And
it really is.
Yeah, and so I try to do that with a lot of other things. And I often encourage people, like if it's bowling, most people are terrible at bowling, go bowl. If it's pool, put some money on the line with a professional pool shark. All right, at a pool, $20, play them in pool, lose. But not only just lose and lose your money, but try to figure out is that feeling that you get of losing and being wrong.
Mm-hmm.
How can you not only overcome it, but what can you learn from it? And if you can learn something and always have that theory and that process and that mental exercise where I'm wrong and I lost, what can I learn from this? Then go learn something and it'll become better over time.
It's awesome.
Yeah, because in trading, man, we're wrong very frequently. Gentleman saying, do you ever do karaoke? So I am ridiculously bad at karaoke. But yeah, I've done it. I'll do karaoke and I'll go up and I know, like, I won't even know the words to the song. I'm not a good singer, but I'll be in that moment and just try to tell my brain that, hey, I'm being wrong. This is not going to work out. This is not going to be good. But let me see what I can learn from this, or just have a good time doing it, experience some fun, have a memory that lasts, and go on forward. So for those who are listening, those are some things I've done personally, just both in trading and also in life, that can help you just with the whole being wrong thing. Because I told you earlier, Scott, I'm a terrible employee. And as an employee, I was wrong all the time. And it always frustrated me because I don't know why I was wrong, because it seemed to me like it was the right thing to do. But it wasn't the boss's idea. So I got in trouble, and therefore.
So there you were wrong because it's not the boss's idea.
Yeah, so I was wrong because it just wasn't their idea. Yeah. It wasn't what they would have done, even though it was the right call.
Yeah.
And so those are the things, though, that we grow up. Like when you have your job, I mean, you said you did it 30 years. So you had 30 years of Scott can't be wrong. So what you have to realize is you're trying to rewrite 30 years in less than a year. You haven't been day trading a year yet.
No, not day trading. Not at all.
10 months at best.
Yeah.
So we're trying to rewrite 30 years of that programming in 10 months. So what I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, is it's going to take time, right? If you have those fears, we all have those fears. Everyone has those fears. It's going to take time, and you have to find those small tactical things that you can do. And one of them is embrace being wrong, understand when it happens, add certainty into your life so that if you're wrong, you know how you're wrong. And sometimes if you know how you're wrong before you know you're wrong, it's okay. So for me, again, going into playing softball, I told everyone that I'm not good at softball, right? No one's expecting anything of me. I'm batting last, okay? If I'm batting at all, I'm the last person on the plate. And no one expects me to hit. So if I hit the ball, everyone cheers. It's exciting. Otherwise, I'm just going to fly out, right? But everyone knows, man. So it's a certainty. And that's something that you can do in trading, is if you just really remind yourself that you get certain that if you lose, this is how much you're going to lose. And you remind yourself of the probabilities that you're going to lose, it helps. Especially if you say it out loud.
Well, you said something to me one time that I repeat to myself a lot. You said, you're never going to be right. The market's always right.
Yes.
You're never right.
No.
The market is always right.
Yeah.
And
it helps.
Yeah, it does, because it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I just happened to pick the right, I just happened to get in and the market did this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And kind of like AMD today. So again, me and Scott were talking about AMD, and this is a great example because, again, I just want to brag on Scott just a little bit. This was a trade that he analyzed, and he saw, he called out and everything. And it was some beautiful analysis. So I'm just going to hide all my drawings for a second and just kind of walk through this trade on AMD. You have the gap down, bearish gap down, high wave bearish candle. We all thought it was going to go lower. You get an inside candle, totally within the previous range, and then boom, This candle comes in and closes above, fills the gap, and then you get a tweezer top. So Scott says, hey, bro, tweezer top on AMD on the 5-minute chart. If it breaks out, I'm going to go bullish. So I pull up the chart, and I'm like, yeah, man, looks amazing. So from here, we get to decide where do we get in, right? We could have picked here in green, which would have been great. We could have picked here in pink, which could have potentially been great, but I don't know. Or you could have picked here in blue, which is where we picked. That's actually a little bit higher, right about here. And that one did not fill. So the one in pink may or may not have filled. I don't know. It kind of depends. It would have been right at the penny. The one in green would have filled. So we gotta make that decision. But the thing is, Scott saw it. He knew exactly how to play it. And even though we missed a 2.5-hour trade, and it would have been a killer trade, we saw it and we knew exactly why to play it and how to play it. And even it didn't trigger, it would have worked out perfect. So the entry was here, the blue line, and the stop loss, Jason, was right here. So entry was at blue, stop was at pink, 30 cents of risk. And I told Scott, hey, man, if this thing triggers, I love the setup, right, Scott? Mm-hmm. I was like, I love this setup. It's a fantastic setup. I'm going to keep this open for like 30 or 40 minutes. We kept it open this entire time, all through those candles, kept the trade open. And I was just discussing how much I liked about it. The volume, right? The fact that it broke above resistance, the fact that it had all kinds of room to run up to this previous resistance over here. And it just didn't trigger. So the thing is, that's going to happen. When you trade, go ahead and get used to it. It's going to occur frequently, a lot, often. So when it occurs, smile and go, this is what I can learn from this experience in this moment. This is what I get from this trade. There will be another trade out there like this, and I'm going to take it when I see it. Same exact way. And it may or may not fill. And if it fills, it may or may not work, but it was just a great trade. So again, man, it was amazing analysis that you did. And the fact that we saw it and the fact that we set it up and it was in our broker ready to go is a massive difference than, let's just say, 2 years ago when you weren't even doing it. You didn't even know that this opportunity existed.
Yeah. Good point.
You know, so just imagine 2 years from now, right? You might have a strategy. Your strategies can always change over time. Once you know that you're disciplined, ladies and gentlemen, this is a key aspect of this. Once you know you're disciplined, you can change any strategy you want and create and build any strategy you want, as long as you know that you can follow the rules. Once you know you can follow the rules, you can build any rules you want to follow. So for example, Scott could have said, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get in every time I see a trade that I like a lot, I'm going to take that trade with half an R immediately at market. If I see the trade, I love it, boom, I'm just going to get in with half an R. And then I'm going to wait 20 minutes, and then I'm going to set up another trade with another half an R, and if it works, great. If it doesn't, great. Could we have done that on that trade? Absolutely. And we would have gotten in probably here with half an R, stopped down here somewhere, and that would have ended up being an R&a-half trade, realized R&a-half, or somewhere around there, even though we're risking half an R. Right? You can build that strategy, ladies and gentlemen. It's nothing special. It's nothing insane, something crazy. In fact, Scott was also talking about the 50 EMA moving average video that I have. And he was talking about, the simplicity of that and how some people don't think it works. I mean, dude, same exact thing, right? When it gets above the 50, get in bullish. There it is. Break above the 50, buy off the 50 right there, and you're in. That's what Felicia did today. So Felicia took it bullish. She made money. Great for her. Her stop was probably down here somewhere. She got in right around here somewhere. And that was it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. So, for example, when AMD gaps up right here yesterday, gaps up, retest gap, huge volume, fills the gap, trades sideways, and then once this candle breaks down and it's below the 50, you know not to be bullish. So you're either bullish or bearish. And then Scott and I also yesterday tried to play this double bottom. We just didn't get filled, right? But we wouldn't have played that if we were using the 50 EMA strategy. We wouldn't have traded it at all. We would have waited for it to get over here, and then we would have bought it, and we would have made like, I don't know, 0.1 Rs or something. right, ladies and gentlemen? So again, every strategy can be created, crafted. You can build your own rules. It doesn't matter. Everything works, just not all the time. So that fear of losing, the fear of being wrong, those are ones that we can overcome. It's just going to take us all a lot of time, and you don't want to just give up because the market is hard. You have to find out what you can learn from that moment or that day or that week and be like Scott. Right, Scott? I'm going to get that tattoo. Me and you,
like Scott.
Me and you today. Matching tattoos. Be like Scott, somewhere on my arm. If anyone else has any questions for Scott, let me know. Do you have any questions for me while we're here, Scott?
No.
Cool.
We've been yakking for 4 days, so 3-4 days.
Man,
so.
we're going to continue. There's going to be so much yakking going on.
Yeah.
So much discussions. Well, either way, ladies and gentlemen, for those who are listening, if you guys have any questions and you are part of the Real Life Trading team, reach out and you're welcome to message Scott on Slack. And he is, again, always happy to help anyone. If they're a newer trader, he's always explaining new concepts to traders. He's always able to help people. And what's most important is, again, it's just the fact that we have a group of people and a community of people who actually care about each other and want each other to build and grow and be happy and make tons of money and give contributions to the world. That's a positive. So let's continue doing that. Ladies and gentlemen, let's continue growing. Thank you so much for listening to this interview. And for everyone else out there in the world, have a fantastic rest of your Wednesday. And until next time, love life, and trade it.